In this podcast episode, Annie Jacobsen returns to discuss her latest book about biological warfare and the complex realities surrounding weapons of mass destruction. The conversation spans a wide range of topics, including the history and mechanics of biological weapons, government counter-proliferation efforts, secrecy and misinformation, recombinant DNA technology, the controversial Soviet biological weapons program, the challenges in pandemic responses, and the intricate roles of agencies like HHS, FEMA, and the Department of Defense. They also explore the growth of biological weapons labs worldwide, data surveillance connected to defense contractors, issues regarding trust in government and information dissemination, as well as touching on UFO-related myths and Annie's investigative experience with a high-level Area 51 source, whose deathbed confession reveals startling new insights previously unheard of. Annie Jacobsen explains how the idea to write about biological warfare emerged after her extensive reporting on nuclear weapons. Counter-proliferation experts often cross over between nuclear and biological threats, given their overlapping concerns about weapons of mass destruction, WMDs. Biological weapons differ in that they are illegal under the 1972 Biological Weapons Convention, yet clandestine programs reportedly continue worldwide, making oversight difficult. She emphasizes the enormous challenge in controlling biological weapons due to their living and replicating nature, distinguishing them from nuclear bombs, which have predictable and measurable effects. This uncontrollability makes biological weapons both terrifying and potentially catastrophic, especially when combined with advances in genetic engineering, including recombinant DNA technology capable of creating novel, hybrid pathogens that defy easy diagnosis or treatment. The conversation delves into recombinant DNA, the process of combining genes from different organisms, a scientific breakthrough first pioneered by Paul Berg in 1972, who won a Nobel Prize for his work. Though originally intended for medical benefits, this technology unintentionally opened pathways for bioweapons development. Jacobsen discusses gain-of-function research, which involves genetically engineering pathogens to enhance their transmissibility, virulence, or resistance to countermeasures. This research remains controversial and politically divisive, further complicated by the debate around whether such work contributes to public health or bioweapons proliferation. Scientists like Dr. Fouché promote its benefits, while defense officials often condemn gain-of-function research as effectively biological weapons engineering. One of the most chilling revelations involves Soviet-era defectors who disclosed secret bioweapons programs in Siberia. These programs allegedly engineered hybrid Chimera bacterial and viral agents, notably a genetically modified pneumonic plague designed to be untreatable by antibiotics and capable of evading diagnosis due to atypical symptoms. The Soviets reportedly planned to use such weapons to devastate enemy forces while sparing infrastructure. These bioweapons allegedly had backdoors to induce brain inflammation, further complicating treatment and eroding public trust in medicine and government, sowing chaos and dissent within the target population. The expert testimony of scientists and intelligence officers bolsters the credibility of these claims, underscoring the ongoing risk of such weapons despite international bans. The discussion touches on SV40, simian virus 40, a monkey virus implicated in historical vaccine contamination, particularly in early polio vaccines. This cancer-causing virus was unknowingly administered to humans, resulting in harmful effects and raising questions about vaccine safety oversight. More recently, a MIT Human Genome Project scientist reportedly found traces of SV40 contamination in COVID vaccine vials, sparking serious concern and censorship on platforms like YouTube. Jacobsen refrains from diving into vaccine debates directly, but highlights the importance of uncertainty and transparency when addressing biomedical issues, noting that dividing public opinion on such matters is dangerously fracturing, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic. Jacobsen critiques the inconsistent messaging from agencies like the CDC and WHO during the COVID-19 pandemic, highlighting mistakes such as the prolonged denial of airborne transmission and exaggerated fears of surface fomite transmission. These errors severely damaged public trust and fostered misinformation. Officials often pretended certainty where there was none to prevent panic, Yet this strategy ironically heightened public fear and divided communities. The podcast stresses the need for honest communication about uncertainty, which could empower better public cooperation and reduce chaos during outbreaks or biological incidents. The Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, oversees pandemic responsibility, including powerful sub-agencies like the CDC, FDA, and NIH, controlling a budget twice the size of the Department of Defense. However, the Defense Department remains crucial for logistical support, such as distributing the strategic national stockpile of medical countermeasures during biological crises. The stockpile and continuity of government's COG plans are highly classified, revealing a secret world where selected elites receive protection and resources during outbreaks, while the majority of the population faces chaos. This devolution strategy, detailed by former FEMA Director Craig Fugate, involves ceding authority to states amid national collapse, with government officials retreating to bunkers and essential personnel working to maintain order. The conversation explores the role of private data companies like Palantir, described as a significant defense and intelligence contractor, aggregating vast amounts of government and civilian data, including DNA samples from COVID testing. There are concerns about who controls and accesses such data and how it may fuel surveillance or targeted defense operations. Jacobsen recounts defense strategies like find, fix, and finish, where biometric surveillance and advanced technology track and neutralize targets in conflict zones, operations often dependent on data from contractors like Palantir. The synthesis of government capabilities, private industry, and AI raises complex questions about privacy, control, and narrative shaping. Jacobsen and the host discuss the modern landscape of information dissemination, influenced by AI technologies like ChatGPT, Google algorithms, and social media platforms such as X, formerly Twitter. They highlight concerns about algorithmic biases, curated content, and the propelling of divisive narratives by engagement-driven systems. Whereas social media thrives on agitation and outrage, ChatGPT tends to provide a more positive, encouraging communication style despite documented cases of it leading individuals towards harmful outcomes. The conflation of government access, AI contractors, and data collection creates a filtered reality where the truth is mediated through layers of machine learning and controlled narratives, making genuine transparency and objective truth elusive. A significant portion of the episode is devoted to Annie's experience reporting on Area 51 and a remarkable insider, Alfred Al O'Donnell, who operated as one of 5 top engineers responsible for wiring and firing nuclear weapons during the Cold War. Unlike many sources entangled in UFO mythology, Al was deeply involved in classified weapons programs. Before his death, he revealed to Annie a stunning and never-before-heard confession, tying into a Soviet War of the Worlds-style disinformation hoax involving alien-like craft meant to overwhelm U.S. radar defenses to pave the way for nuclear attacks. He spoke of horrific human experiments involving nuclear weapons tests and infection of vulnerable populations with dangerous pathogens. His family initially denied these claims until Al personally affirmed their truth shortly before his death. Despite FBI pressure to sever their relationship, Annie continues to stand by his credibility, distinguishing his genuine insider testimony from the vast disinformation surrounding UFO conspiracies. Reflecting on her journalism career, Jacobsen emphasizes the importance of perspective, source credibility, and the layered nature of truth. She explains how individuals might hold deeply conflicting stories, influenced by personal motives, fear, or deception, as exhibited in Al O'Donnell's varying accounts to different people. The episode discusses how compartmentalization within intelligence agencies means even operatives often lack awareness of the full picture, underscoring a complex reality where certainty is rare, narratives are spun, and truths are obscured. The prevalence of conspiracy theories, misinformation, and social media polarization complicates efforts to discern fact from fiction, making balanced inquiry and skepticism essential tools. Jacobsen provides an alarming update on the proliferation of biosafety level 3 and 4 labs, facilities designated for handling highly dangerous pathogens. Over 100 BSL-4 labs exist globally, yet no central oversight body ensures safety or transparency. Some labs are located near large populations in megacities like Tokyo and Wuhan, posing severe risks if accidental releases occur. Similarly, thousands of BSL-3 labs operate worldwide with varying safety standards, especially in conflict zones, meaning pathogens could escape or fall into nefarious hands. The existence of such an unregulated global network of high-containment labs fuels fears of accidental or intentional biological incidents and complicates global biosecurity. The episode outlines the grim scenarios that might ensue following a biological attack or accident, a rapid progression from outbreak to chaos, insurrection, and governmental collapse within days. The U.S. government has developed contingency plans, including emergency martial law, use of the Insurrection Act, and limited stockpiles of vaccines and gas masks, primarily distributed to elites and military personnel. Vulnerable populations like the homeless are excluded from surveillance and aid systems, making them potential hubs for rapid disease spread. Additionally, the prospect of armed forces using lethal force against migrants fleeing infected zones is explored in a war game context, highlighting ethical and humanitarian dilemmas in crisis management. Jacobsen stresses the need for widespread public awareness and informed preparedness to mitigate panic and foster cooperation during such crises. Discussing the origins of COVID-19, Jacobsen acknowledges the prevailing scientific discourse pointing towards a lab leak at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, where coronavirus and bat viruses were studied intensively. She critiques the labeling of lab leak hypotheses as conspiracy theories, advocating for more open, speculative inquiry free from political weaponization. The suppression of this theory by prominent scientists, allegedly motivated by funding, influence, or prestige, reveals challenges in scientific transparency and public trust. This dynamic mirrors broader issues of secrecy, misinformation, and tribalism playing out across pandemic response and biological threat discourse. Finally, the conversation touches on how narratives have accrued power surpassing traditional institutions, influencing public perception and societal order. Drawing historical parallels to the invention of the printing press, an event which disrupted authority structures through information democratization, Jacobsen points out that current information technology, combined with AI, social media, and concentrated data control, is reshaping power dynamics. The resulting distrust, polarizations, and shifting democratic ideals underscore a society grappling with rapid technological change without commensurate institutional adaptation, fueling uncertainty in national and global governance.